Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. I'm Alexander, and here we dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs and marketing innovators. Each episode, we uncover the challenges and triumphs of our amazing guests, giving you valuable insights and inspiration. Our goal is to build a community of growth-oriented professionals ready to learn, collaborate, and thrive in the ever-evolving world of digital marketing. So whether you're here for the latest trends or looking for that next big idea, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. And today is going to be an international episode. Joining us all the way from Johannesburg in South Africa is Khensani Mabunda, the CEO of KW Kreatives. KW Kreatives is a full service, marketing agency. And so today we're going to learn about, marketing in South Africa. Khensani, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here today.
All right, Kensani. So, can you tell us a little bit about your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
I have a long journey. So my dad, I think I was 15, if not 16, convinced me that I needed to be a lawyer. So I went to varsity and studied BCom law. So that was my initial career. And the plan was to study LLB. So when you do a BCom law, I don't know if it's only in South Africa, it's three-year degree, and then you have an additional 2 years of LLB to obviously qualify as a candidate attorney. And then from there, you do your articles and you write your board exams and become an official attorney. So that was the plan. And somewhere along the line, my parents were in business and business wasn't doing great at that time. So they were struggling with finances. So I say to my dad, listen, I have sort of at the time it was a vacation work. So we were supposed to do vacation work for 2 weeks, but then they offered me a job so I could work there in my final year on days when I was not going to class. So I say to them, listen, I have a job, so let me work. And once you guys are fully financial, capable to actually take me back to school, I'll go back to school and then I'll do the LB and do everything. And luckily for me, I started working at a very young age. So my third year in varsity, and I went straight into employment. So that was my first job. Then I moved from that law firm to another one. So I had a bit of experience in the labor law field, and my last job was at Adams and Adams, which is a trademark intellectual property firm. So from there, that's when I actually discovered my love for brands. I specifically worked at the trademark department. So we worked with registrations and obviously litigation as well. And we had quite a number of interesting clients. I don't know if I can mention, but I learned quite a lot from just that experience alone. And I realized that um, I wanted to study marketing. I wanted to get into the marketing space. I wanted to understand more about brands and how they develop themselves to become what they are today. So because we worked with quite huge brands such as BMW, I'm a car fanatic. So I think I loved the fact that we had BMW as a client and it's one of my favorite brands. I started doing a lot of research. So I started doing short courses online, and then I broke the news to my dad when I told him that I didn't want to study law anymore. He had a difficult time accepting that. But eventually, I think he understood that I wanted to take a different direction. So I just went out and explored. I did a course at the SABC because at some point I wanted to do a bit of radio. So I love podcasting. I actually started a podcast somewhere in 2016. I went through that process and then eventually went to Boston Media House just to learn more about PR, to learn more about the entertainment space, which is where I was mainly interested in at that time. And then from there, I jumped off and I started working for a family business and did a bit of marketing there. Then I realized I don't like what they do. as much as I like doing marketing. So I say to them, you know what, this is it for me. Let me take my own journey. And that's where KW Creatives was born. So I established KW Creatives in December 2021. Yes, December 2021, and we started working. But our mindset, I guess, when we started, and I'll say our because from the beginning, somewhere, somehow, I had an employee who I could not afford to pay. And she's still here till this day. So, but our mindset was that we wanted to work in more of the entertainment space. So our approach was that at the beginning. But somewhere, somehow, we were shifted into the energy space and we found clients in that space. And from there, we just grew, and that's where we are today.
Wow, that's a pretty inspiring journey. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about KW Creatives and what makes it special in South Africa? And from what you told me before we started the episode, even other countries. So you're like an international marketing agency.
Yeah. KW Creatives is an interesting small baby. I will say that. I think when I tell people about the work that we do and the space that we are in, they are actually shocked that we got this far at such a very early stage of the company. Like I said, we are approaching our 3-year mark now. Um, but KW Creatives, basically, I came up with the slogan, we build relations. And that was not actually the first slogan. That came along the way when we started working with clients and understanding them. And I think most of the time, our approach as marketing people is we want to know how much money do you have? Is it going to be enough money to market your business? And my approach from the beginning was that I started my business with so little. And if I went to approach another business and say, please help me market this business, I wouldn't be able to pay them. So we came up with that approach to say we want to speak to as many business owners as possible. I have so much passion for startups. I have so much passion for new entrepreneurs who are trying to start up their businesses. So I always say that our approach is we want to build a relationship. So if our relationship means today you might not pay me the X amount of money that I need, but we can start somewhere. In the long term, that relationship could be bigger. Not only will it bring your business to grow, and so you can afford to pay me better, but it will also bring connections. It will also bring networks. One of our first clients, till this day, he's our client. We actually come from an event last night. Um, and people were just surprised at how long we've been working together. He's till this day probably our smallest client, but he's brought us so many connections. He's opened doors for us. He's brought us clients as well. And that's what I appreciate about working with people, regardless of the price tag. I think so many times, as marketing agencies, we focus on the price tag, and for us, it's about building relations.
That's very, very interesting. So, and you know, what you touch on something that's very interesting, which is, really building relation and how to grow your business like that. So, how did you manage to grow your business? What have you done to market your business? Because I know, as a marketing agency, we're here for other people to market, but we also
Yeah,
have to do the same thing for ourselves.
ourselves.
So how did it work for you and what do you feel is the most um I would say like the most efficient on your side of the globe?
I If I'm being honest, I probably did that once. I probably intentionally marketed the business once, and that's when I was launching it. From there, it came from connections, and then from there, it also came from referrals. I was actually talking to my team 2 weeks ago, and I said, guys, we've been sleeping on our own marketing because we're so busy with our clients' marketing that we neglect ours. So the first time I did that, I went on social media. I created a video on Canva. And I had no idea how, I'm not, I'm as much as I'm a creative person, I had no idea how to create stuff at the time. So I played around with Canva for a while, did a tutorial. I probably should be a Canva spokesperson because I love it so much. Did a tutorial, then I did a short video that I posted on my Instagram page to announce KW Creatives. And from there, most, I guess, my friends, my followers were reposting that video on their stories. And that's where I got my first two clients. And from
Wow.
there, yeah. From there, I was invited to an event. This is why I'm so big on events and also investing in them. And when I say investing, I say as a business, if you do have the opportunity to buy a stand, to buy even a ticket to go to a big conference event that is, industry focused where you can get clients, please do because it is really good. It really does open doors for you. It's different from sending an email and no one has had a conversation with you. So from there, I went to my first event, and from that event, I actually met a lady who was running an events company, but more of a business related event, business career related event. I went to a first event, and from there, it just started expanding because I kept meeting people and people talking about their businesses, and they kept saying the same thing. Oh, we don't have marketing. Oh, I don't know what to do with my social media. And from there, that's where my clientele grew. And till this day, I still say my biggest marketing strategy as for our agency is our work and how we carry ourselves because every single client that we probably worked with refers us to someone else. So we
Well,
we
you're gonna have to tell us a little bit more about that. So how do you manage to get referrals from every client? What is your secret sauce? What is your way
yeah.
of getting referrals? Because we all know that is a big thing and that can really snowball because if each referral gives you another referral, you can grow really fast. So I'm curious to see how you manage to get that.
Yeah. I will give myself credit now. I'll give myself credit because I think it really is about how I handle like relationships, and I guess that's how I say we build relations because I take it as a relationship that you need to trust me, you need to know that I can take care of your marketing, I can take care of your business in that sense. But also I think I'm just a light person and I'm easy to talk to, I'm easy to have conversations. So overall, I've managed over the years to have really good relationships with my clients. And not that we do not face challenges. I think we face quite a lot of challenges, but maybe in the way I handle conflict or also how I handle difficulties. If there's something that has gone really wrong, I mean, it's also about taking responsibility and saying, okay, I made a mistake here and try to rectify that. And I think maybe that has always been my approach to look at it as it's not just, business, but I mean, you're dealing with people. And one of the things that I've learned through running KW Creatives is that business is about managing people. So you manage relationships with your clients and you manage relationships with your employees or your team. And if you know how to do that well, if you can master that, then it will be easier for you to have clients that can refer you because they also know that if something goes wrong, you don't just ghost your clients or you don't just, you know, put them in a difficult situation, but you know how to communicate with them. And it's also important to observe your clients to understand how your clients are. Because one client is not the same as the other. So you know how to approach them when there are challenges. So I think because of that, as much as we faced difficulties, but we strive regardless, and maybe that's why they do refer us to other people because of the kind of relationship that we have with them.
Well, super interesting. And so one of the thing, as we're talking about KW Creatives, what is Can you share with us a successful campaign or project that you're particularly proud of?
I love this campaign. And you know why? Because when we got into this industry, we had no idea what the industry was. So we are working with LPGSA. I mentioned this earlier. So which is the
And what
liquefied
can you?
petroleum.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no problem. It's Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association of South Africa, so LPG. We started working with them, and when we started, their biggest mandate was to promote safety use of LPG gas in residentials for both cooking and heating. And the reason why is because in South Africa, it's still not the most popular energy source. So people do use gas, but alternatively, when we have load shedding or load reduction, when we do not have electricity, then people will want to use gas as a second option. Or when it's winter and people then will then use gas heaters, but it's not an everyday use in most cases. And what they discovered also is that there was a lot of issues online about gas and the misconceptions and misunderstandings of how to use gas. So it was a very important mandate for them as an association to come in and say, this is what gas is, this is what it's not, and this is how you use it and use it safely. So that was the approach in that campaign. So when we tackled the campaign, we said, listen, we can make it a three-in-one campaign. And the first part would be social media because there was a lot of social media issues and misconceptions. So we created sort of online character that will come in and respond as part of us as on behalf of the association. And they will that online character will basically look at those issues, look at comments, and try address those comments online. And then we also had exhibitions. So we traveled to every single province in the country. Yep. And to different locations. And we did physical demonstrations of how to connect your gas cylinder to your heater, to your stove, how to check for leak tests, all these things. So to help people understand, the use of gas properly and to also not be scared of it because, the fear comes with not understanding how to use it really well. So we did that for 12 months. We were just running around the country. And the third one, our approach was to make people understand that a gas cylinder is like a car in a sense that you need to take care of it, you need to maintain it. If you speed, you're gonna find yourself in terrible accidents. So the same way, if you don't use it properly, you don't take care of it, it's going to give you problems. So just to help people understand better what that cylinder is and how well to protect it and to treat it.
That is a pretty big campaign too. And that was one of your first clients as well?
Not one of our first, but definitely our biggest client. It's a national campaign. We're still running it even now. We've
Oh,
expanded.
wow.
Yes, we've expanded to radio promotions as well. We're about to launch transit ads with Provantage. And with that one, we're doing printed ads on taxis in three major cities in South Africa. So with that campaign alone, it's a typical example of what KW Creatives is because you see us doing so many things in literally just one campaign.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. And so you name creative. What I want what I wanted to ask is like how do you go about experimentation in your business and with your clients? How does the creative process works?
So we are really big on the creative process because we don't just want it to be a one man show in a sense that we come in and we tell you what to do. as as a client, we expect you to come on board with us. So we love our brainstorming sessions because we get to sit with our clients and understand what it is that they want. So one of the things that I do first when you come to us and say, "Oh, I would like, to work with you guys. I'm looking for a marketing agency." We have a consultation first. Um, and just to understand your business, to understand what you're trying to achieve. And then from there, we have a brainstorming session with you. So I will go and sit with my team and say, "Hey guys, there's this client, had a consultation with them. This is who they are, this is what they want." We come up with ideas, then we get into a brainstorming session with you, right? So it's not about just our ideas, taking the what's the word? Like first preference, but rather coming together with the clients to also make them understand our ideas and how we came about to those type of ideas, but also listening to the client because I think that's the most important part. Because most of the time, as marketers, we want to give them and tell them what will work, without listening to what they really want. And I think we can bridge the gap by taking what the client wants and what we think is the best solution or the best direction and putting it together. So those brainstorming sessions really help us. And I think another thing is just reviewing our work. We do review our work and look at it and say, does this work? And we go back to the client and say, listen, maybe we should change a few things. And I think that has also helped along the way.
So really big on collaboration for your experimentation,
Yes.
not just a one-way marketing side and like here it is, here is the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
No, that's very interesting. And so, you said you really started off and realized that you liked, the business and really made it all yourselves. Did you have any mentors or influences that really helped you get to where you are today?
I did. I did. I come from a business background. My parents have been running a construction at the time when I'd started. My parents had been running a construction company for over 20 years. My dad was one of those men that I did not probably look up to when I was young because I didn't understand most of the things that he was doing. But in terms of leadership, he was a brilliant leader. I watched him at a very young age build up a company from as small as it was to a huge construction company. So that is probably my biggest mentor. I watched him also in the early 2000s. He was brilliant at marketing actually because he didn't actually have a marketing manager, but he did his marketing quite well now that I think about it. So I think maybe just looking at his expertise, also his experience altogether, he became a mentor without necessarily driving me into the business direction. He wanted me to be a lawyer. His idea was that I was going to be the family lawyer. So I don't think he wanted me to get into business, really. But I think in a way, he really just toned me down into the type of man that he was in terms of business. My mother as well, because at some point she left her government job to join him, so they worked together. And maybe that's why I quit my job in the law firm because I noticed that that is possible, you know. And I saw them thrive together through hardships and also successful journeys. And then after that was my brother, who has also played a huge role in my life. I started living with my brother when I was 16, and he went to his first job. And I think in 6 months after he graduated, he quit and he started his business. And from there, I think just being with those three people in my life, I've seen what business is. And and probably seen all angles of it. And sometimes people ask me, how do you still get into business after, knowing how hard it is? And I say that I was born for it because I don't think entrepreneurship is about just having a business idea and, starting the business. I really do believe that there are entrepreneurs that are born for it. It's in my genes because it comes from my family, my parents. So yeah, that's those are my biggest mentors. Yeah.
Yeah, with what you're telling me, it makes sense.
Yeah.
No, no, but I agree. Entrepreneurs is really a way of life, and it's not for everybody, but some people, just love it. Um,
Yeah.
so I wanted to know, what are you excited about in the world of digital marketing, and what are you worried about?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, my PR specialist was actually asking me about AI before we had this conversation. I'm excited about the future of digital marketing. I generally love digital marketing. I think you and I wouldn't even be having this conversation if it wasn't for, technology that allows us to be here. Also, it cuts costs. I just went through production costs for a print ad that I was talking about earlier. And it's quite a lot. I mean, it really does costs, and it's I think in general it's a quicker way of getting things done. And also, we live in a digital world. We probably on our phones and our laptops more than we see things outside. So I really love and I'm excited about the future of digital marketing, especially because it does connect us to clients beyond where we are. And like I say, we want to expand internationally as well. So that opens the door for us. We can do any work while we are here digitally without being in France, for example, but we can have a client that is in France. So that's what I love about digital marketing. In terms of fear, um, there's a lot of fear around AI. I don't have that fear, simply because I think AI helps us to do our work better. And it also helps us with time. But the ideas, the creativity still comes from us. And I think AI is a tool that assists us to reach those ideas and make them, expand them rather. So I'm not fearful for the future of digital marketing. I just may be anxious to know what's coming, what's ahead of us. I also would not like to lose my team because now I feel like I don't need them. I really do need them. I
Yeah.
appreciate every single one of them. So I don't think there's a time where I would say to them, you know what, this is the time where I don't need you anymore because I can do this digitally. No, don't think it's possible. If anything, I think it will help our employees to work better using whatever technology is there and whatever digital marketing opportunities open up in the future. So I'm more anxious rather than fearful.
Okay, no, that's pretty interesting. And you mentioned that you were working on your international expansion. So, in the US, such a big country that, we're not necessarily looking at that. But I imagine that with South Africa, it's makes sense to expand. How do you go about expanding to other countries? How do you go about that?
So it's just niching down. I think one thing that we did early this year was try to find our client, like our exact client, who's our client, and who we would ideally like to be our client. And then from there is approaching different companies across the world to say, this is who we are. We are based in South Africa, but we don't necessarily have to be based in South Africa to do your work. But we've really been looking a lot in the energy sector, energy space, and simply because we found our ground there, we love it there. So outside of LPG, we're trying to see what other brands we can work with. And interesting is that most of those brands are actually international brands, they're not South African brands. So that also allows us to have opportunities to work in South Africa and internationally. But it's also about just looking at our targeted clients and also where we can position ourselves outside of South Africa.
No, that's yeah. Always feels stressful to go to other countries and expand, but it seems that you have a good plan. And I wanted to know, do you have any exciting project coming up that you would like to share with us today?
We do. So, like I said, I personally love startups. So we are currently working on a new project, but it's a KW Kreatives project, where we will be partnering with other brands, and it's called Access. So Access is all about providing a platform where either you're an entrepreneur, new entrepreneur, old entrepreneur, or you might not know where your career is going and you want to see and see what options are there. So it's an event-based business where we will be doing an annual conference where we will open up and partner with government, partner with corporate, and just help people understand the process from when you start your registration to when you start running your business and what you need in throughout, whether it's understanding what type of bank account you need, what type of registration you need.
So very
Also,
tactical.
very tactical. I think most of the time we go to these conferences and we have conversations, but I think most of the young entrepreneurs especially want to know, how do I do it? Um, and who do I go to get advice, to have understanding, and where do I go for money? Yeah, because I
Wow, that's
mean,
that's
yeah,
cool.
where
That's a
do I
big
get the
project.
funding? Yeah, so I think that's a big project that we are working on. It's exciting because it's something that we are also passionate about, as well as KW Creatives, because we work with a lot of entrepreneurs there and there. So we really want to help them to have more understanding and also have more direction. And that's a project that in the future we want to take it to schools, because I don't think we are learning as much as possible about entrepreneurship and businesses in schools. So if we could take that to high schools as well, that would be amazing. But yeah, that's a project we're really excited about.
Wow, that's really cool. I really like that. And do you already have a website and everything? Is it like launch or is it in the process?
We're in the process. So as soon as we launch, I'll send you all the details. But we are definitely in the process, and we're also getting in our partners as well.
Super. All right, cool. So that was really amazing to hear about KW Creative and your story in South Africa and see how things are working over there, making sure that you get referrals, build relation, which I really like, and it shows that it's work because and didn't you tell me also that with LPG you were able to move into different countries as well, right?
With LPG, not
Ah, not
different.
with
Yeah,
LPG.
we have a client from Zimbabwe actually.
Look
Yes,
at that.
we have a
So
client
that's
from Zimbabwe, and we met him at the LPG summit, LPGSA summit, which had different countries from the SADC region there.
and so soon, KW Creative, the biggest marketing agency in Africa.
Yes, that's the goal. Thank you for saying that.
All right, Kensani, thank you so much for being here, for being our guest, and we wish you all the luck and success with your company and your beautiful project of entrepreneurship. And hope to have you soon again on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.